All right, I see Jason in there. There's Linda's here with us. I see Jason live on the video. What's up?
Hey, how are you?
Good. Looks like you got your new hat too. I
Yeah,
wear my movement hat. These things are pretty cool.
definitely.
Which this is the other one that I got too. I've got so much movement gear. Do you guys buy as much as I do?
Yeah, I buy a lot of stuff too. Definitely.
Load up, load up. All right, Amber's here. Well, is my screen visible? Can you guys see it okay? Or is everything too, yeah, okay, cool. That's just showing the Domo report for the company right now since January 1st. 7,500 units closed. 45,767 units created. That's crazy. 2.5 billion. That's crazy, guys.
Wow.
I don't know who said this was a bad market, but we're here to talk about that today with you guys. And because everybody's business is different and there's a lot of people in here, a lot of people in the company. So what I care about is you guys, my coaching clients. And so I want to make sure that you're contributing to those numbers. And if you're not, we got to figure out how to make it happen, right? So before we get started, I got about 7 things I'm going to cover today. Is there anything like mission critical happening in your market right now or something that you want to bring up to make sure we cover on the call today?
I'm
Uh,
just seeing tough deals out there right now. Sorry, Anna, I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, agreed. All the deals are
Yeah,
like I can't even open my right eye. They're so painful.
yeah, agreed.
But that's okay. We're closing them.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm telling you guys, I'm going to share some things there. I've got some clips from the Keller Williams conference that I'll end with. Just a couple of things from Gary Keller that I think it's great for you guys to know. Like one of the things I think I shared somewhere in one of the group calls this week, I gave you guys some links to some videos, and one of the most profound ones that several of you had said, "Oh my gosh, I'm glad you shared that." But that is that 1 out of 16 real estate agents in, I don't remember if it was so far, no, it would have been 2022. 1 in 16 agents listed a house. 1 in 16. And then the other thing to really bring to the radar, and this is not just about it being a Keller Williams thing, but we're talking 1 out of 5 sales in 2022 were done with a Keller Williams agent. That's insanity. I mean, there's thousands of other companies, and 1 in 5 was done with a KW agent. So they took the total sales that were recorded and took the Keller Williams sales, and it's a fifth. So if that doesn't give you a little laser focused radar to if you're going to look for new relationships, I mean, you might as well start there, right? It's a training company. Not that the other companies are bad or anything like that, and not that the other agents aren't doing any business, but 1 out of 5 is a KW agent. That might be a good target for everyone to put that on your list. Cool. And so we're going to talk about tough, and hopefully I leave you inspired by this call about the tough, and that we're just going to kick it into gear and make it happen, because if you get out there and do it, you're going to be all right. You're going to get through this, and you're going to make business happen. So I'm not even going to give away some of the clips at the end. I'll probably comment on them after we get it. All right, cool. All right, so this is the first thing. One of the coaches was in the Oregon, South Washington region, and Bill Peterson, I don't know if anybody knows him from that region, but he stated that they were struggling with activity. They were struggling with focus calls, appointments, lunch and learns, all that stuff. And one of the things that I really coach to is when you're doing the right activities and plugging your people into the brand plan and making your connections and writing the notes and doing all that stuff, even the lunch and learns. When you're doing lunch and learns, what is the timeline that you're looking at to build up to the lunch and learn? How are you following up after the lunch and learn? Because when you just go out and do it, and just show up and do a lunch and learn and leave, even if you try your best to do some follow-up calls and a couple people meet with you, it's like you're not getting the maximum benefit out of doing the lunch and learn if you don't have an organized follow-up system behind that timeline. But this is what I wanted to share. This was a presentation he was doing, and it just really spoke to me for you guys. It's be more focused, be more strategic, like really do that timeline. Don't just think about it, like do it. Have 4 touches systematized that everybody that shows up for your lunch and learn gets 4 touches from you after the event. They get 4 touches before the event. I'm going to pause here on that one because I actually have an agent with Keller Williams in Colorado, in Denver, a good friend of mine. And he's doing one of the programs that Keller Williams has, and it's for network marketing. Like when you get a network, like a BNI kind of thing. Well, Gary Keller has had this vision that this is like something that you meet once a month with people in your community and have a coaching session where they actually do real live coaching like what we do. And that model, it runs like $1,000 to join, and then it's $100 a month. And when I went to the launch of this, because I've had a network group going for 15 years. So I went to this thing to check it out, paid my $1,000 to go. And there's no system in place, no 4 or 5 or 6 touches before to get people interested in it to show up. I mean, they got to drop $1,000 check and then $100 a month. So I was checking in on him. He said he was doing it. He's like, yeah, man, I'm struggling. It's like I call people and invite them and they don't even come to the free session. I can't get people to commit to the $1,000. And I said, because there's no touch to build up to it and there's no follow up after it. You're just asking them to come to a network meeting and then hitting them with $1,000, right? So he was struggling with that. And I said, dude, create a timeline. This is what I'm doing with that group is create the timeline, create the touches, build the interest, and then go from there. So a lot of what I coach you guys, I do myself, but they were like more dials, more meetings, more education lunch and learns. It's more talks, more conversations, more activity. And what's the story that you have that everyone has to hear? And it is that you guys are plugged into this right now, talking about the community and what's going on in the market. And then it's more, right? So let me see if I can zap this screen out of here. God, do I have to hit stop share every time I want to move a window? That's going to stink. All right. So this is my first video. Let's see how this goes on share on more. Sorry, I have to bounce back and forth, but I thought this was pretty classic. Anybody watch Saturday Night Live with Travis Kelce? Yeah. So this was my favorite thing I heard him say. And I was like, here's where my brain is affected as a coach. It's like what I'm sharing with you right now about more in the marketplace. This is what I thought when I saw this clip.
About doing a monologue, but then I remembered I'm pretty good with words. I'm pretty good with words. Like during games, I do these super eloquent pump-up speeches for my teammates. Please watch. More. And sometimes I even do it in my Pat Mahomes voice. More. Do it, Cal, do it. Love you, Pat.
All right. Guys, get it? It's about more. So literally, I could just coach you guys by just saying more. Guys, right now, we're ending the first quarter. So I want you to think about how much more have you really done, right? So these are tougher loans and all that stuff. And the one thing I say as a business coach is, and I got to say it to myself, and it's more. If they're tough, we need more. And you're going to find some easier ones in there if you have more. But when the business hasn't been built up to create a pipeline of business coming through, that you're having to go out there and work to find the deals, they're going to be harder work right now because we didn't set the pipeline up early on to have more coming through. Did you guys see this email from Mike Brennan about the movement operating system? And if you saw it, great. You may not have read the whole thing or really understood what was going on. And so I'm just going to kind of highlight a couple things. This is kind of a real deal here, this EOS stuff. The leadership in the company from the very top has been working on this since April. It's running through our coaching department, but I want you guys to understand what it is. This book is the operating system for any business owner. Movement is taking it serious, and they want to bring it down to your level to where you're operating from an EOS manual as well. So what I can tell you is taking this business to the next level and running it like a business, like a corporation that is starting, and you're going to expand around the country and you're going to franchise yourself. Think of your business like a business. And I'll tell you, this is E-Myth stuff. You need to separate yourself from the business, and not meaning like you need to turn off work when you go home. I mean, you need to step aside and look at your business and say, is this just me kind of doing what I can in relationships, and I'll catch a loan here and there and have somebody do an app? Or when you separate yourself, when you see it, is it a machine that's running, that's doing things on purpose and that's doing things automatic, and you're just the person handling part of the process? Does that make sense? Because in E-Myth, we talk about, and also Millionaire Real Estate Agent, Gary Keller talks about you're one person. So you guys are right now, if you're, when you start out as an LO, you do everything, right? And hopefully you get enough business that they'll let you have somebody to help you, an assistant LO or a processor or something. So that's like level 2. And what that person does is take stuff off your plate that should free up your time to then do more of the most important things you need to do to get more business, so that they'll give you another person and another person, and you start to build your team. The big teams build that way. So you do need to know that there's a business process. And right now you might be doing 100% of the things. And when you get your first processor, 80% of that should be able to come off your plate when it has to do with the actual loan processing and all that stuff, right? When you get a junior LO, there's other things that come off your plate until you're doing more of the stuff that's bringing new dollars into the bottom line, and it frees you up to do more of the personalization and stuff. So if you don't have these books yet, I don't understand which process to go with first, but what the heck is EOS is kind of a flyover. I thought in coaching, they said, read EOS first and then read this. I think you can read them either way, but you might really start making a commitment for 2023 to start running it like a business. That means you're going to sit down at the boardroom table and look at what came in, what's processing, how's it going through the system, what's getting closed, and what's my profit at the end of the month. And if it's not profitable, then you need to come back as a CEO of that company and go, so where's the gap? What do we need to fill to make more income come in?
I was just going to say, thanks, Brad. And I did get that, the EOS book on Audible, and I started it. I just need to make a commitment to get through it. So I'll get on that. And it definitely makes sense. I will say, when things were so busy and we were doing so much volume, I really did. I mean, I had a team of 5. I was running it like a business. I honestly, I worked, although we worked hard, I had a machine going. And then since then, the wheels fell off. I mean, I came over here, I lost my team, I rebuilt. But also last year, completely blindsided me because I'm just so used to being a machine. And so everything kind of kept going back into my role. So all of a sudden I went from a business owner to like as self-employed, I feel like a team of 1, even though I have a teammate, maybe a couple teammates now that I look at it. But anyway, the point is, it seems like everything's been on my back. Wait, we're not closing loans. Maybe you need to do all the consultations again. Wait, now you need to call all the leads. Wait, you need to follow up with all the leads. Wait, you have to call the agents. Wait, you have to do appointments. Wait, you're doing all the social media. So it's like everything I'm doing is on me. And I used to have, my name of my thing is Team Nielsen. It's not Jeffrey Nielsen team. It's like we are a team.
Yeah.
Like I want compliments about the team, not about me. But I've been thrust to be everything. And the pressure has been a bit insurmountable. I mean, I'm getting into it with my best teammate, my wife, over all of this. And it's like, I mean, am I supposed to do it all? So somehow I went backwards during all of this. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if you want to unpack it at all, but just want to put it out there. I do need to think like that. I need to put some steps back in for what our team should be doing and then evaluating at the end of the month. That makes a ton of sense. I just wish maybe I could put people, because I used to be good at putting people into places to succeed. Like, okay, here's what you're going to do. Here's what you're going to, and we had a machine, but then when the wheels are falling off, it's like, Jeff, you've got to do it all to win every deal. And so I've been a little bit, it's messed me up a little bit, I'll say.
No, that's so awesome that you shared it, because those people that aren't in that spot yet, I want you guys to hear what he just said. And I'm going to put myself in the same boat. Gary Keller and Jay Papasan would talk about expanding and contracting. So when it's one person and you go to two, level 2 is what we call it. You bring in an assistant. Level 3 in the real estate business, I want to bring you the real estate perspective of it, because he's got it down to 7 levels. But it actually kind of looks the same in the mortgage industry as well, or any business. So level 1 of the 7-level real estate agent, millionaire real estate agents, you're yourself. Then you bring in an assistant. That's level 2. Now, once that assistant gets maxed out, and if you took that free time when you had that team to plug back into bringing stuff to the bottom line, new relationships, new contracts, new applications, then you would keep getting busier. And then you got to bring in a marketing person to run alongside of now the contracts manager. So that assistant was on level 2 was doing all of the marketing and the admin. Then it breaks out into marketing to go find more business. And now the admin person is just handling the contract. So that individual agent just got freed up, or they got more business coming in from the marketing. So that's level 3. And then when they go to level 4, they bring in a buyer's agent or a showing agent. So now the agent's business, what's left on their schedule is they're showing houses and going on listing appointments, right? And just calling clients and getting new business. The marketing person has now got more opportunities. The phone's ringing more than before they had them. Now they go to level 4 with this showing agent, and all the buyer stuff comes off their calendar and goes onto the buyer's agent's calendar. Now the agent has a lot of white space because buyers take the most time. So, and think of it in the terms of your same business. As you're building these businesses, they're bringing chunks of things off your calendar. Where most people drop the ball is they just do more of the stuff they like to do versus doing more of the stuff that brings more money to the bottom line. And we're going to actually talk about a very on-purpose structure that we are going to get the database cranking. We're going to get the systems in place, and it's contract and expand. So I expanded all the way to where I stepped out of my real estate business. And then I had to come back a year later because the team wasn't following the system, and I had to come back in and squeeze it back down. And we've had our team expand and contract from 9 people down to 1 person.
Okay.
In fact, I've been running 1 person on purpose for the last 2 years because I turned my business over to somebody 2 years prior, and they didn't manage the systems. They didn't do anything with anything. So all my system, you would talk about the wheels falling off the bus. So don't think of it as pressure, because most of the time when I'm coaching people, guys, and you're struggling like this and you don't have that leverage piece, here's the answer to get the leverage piece and to plug the person back in. In order for them to be the most effective and efficient they can be, you got to get it organized to the point where right now where you are, Jeffrey, that pressure you're feeling, if you can systematize and automate to feel less pressure and be able to add some more deals in while you're this kind of crazy overwhelmed. But if you can relieve the pressure with a better system, get some things automated, and all of a sudden you start adding a few extra deals, then you're turning it back around to where you can now add somebody back in to take these things off your plate. And then what's best is you just learned that now, to avoid that from ever happening again, I have to get that pipeline full. So it gets down to where Gary Keller told me once, the last thing you do in your business is convert the last lead, because converting a lead into a call that turns into an application for you guys is bringing new money into the business. So even if you had a team of 20 people and you're doing 800 transactions a year, The last thing you do before you go sit in a hammock and your team keeps running is you're converting the last lead. So think of it in terms of that. Does that make sense? So we don't really replace that time with the right activities. We just do more of the stuff we like to do. Another way I'll put it, usually when people bring in their first assistant, they give them all the crap that they don't want to do. Well, think about that person's life. They're doing all the crap that you didn't like to do. So how are they supposed to be excited about coming in and working every day if they're just doing crap that nobody else wanted to do? So you want to make sure that you're doing the stuff that brings more business in, that supports their salary so that you can keep them forever. And the markets expand and contract. And like I said, I'm down to one agent, but I'm doing it on purpose. And I'm doing it on purpose because I feel the same thing you do. But that means, where's that hole? Let me find a way to systematize that better. Like right now, we're plugging back in old things we used to do, pulling up listings from 5 to 10 years ago and finding inventory that nobody else is going after, so we don't have as much competition. Well, that takes a whole structured system to go in, pull those up, do the research, get the message out to them, and get that listing to show up for both buyers and sellers. Does that make sense? So look at it as a good thing. And I will tell you, when I coached all the top KW agents, I would say their team would walk out on them, and I would say, this is probably the best thing that's ever happened to you. And they're like, what? My whole team's gone. It's like, I know. So if we can keep your sales where they are and start adding business back in, and it's just you. In fact, I would tell them, you can't hire anybody for 90 days. I want you to spend the next 90 days getting organized, get things systematized, get you ramped up, and get you more efficient. And it's going to be hell for 90 days. But once you get that smooth and you start feeling better, that's when you're going to be able to go to the next level. So it's almost, it may not feel like it, but it's kind of one of the best things that might happen to you. And that's where the coaching calls, man, you guys don't have to go through this by yourself. You have access to me 24/7, honestly. I mean, you guys can call me about anything when you're struggling with something. You don't have to do this by yourself. You got a voice in your head that you can call and bounce things off of. So on this EOS, I'll just run through a couple things here. I just highlighted a couple things. What is MOS? Well, that's the movement operating system. It's powered by EOS. And what it does is it operates more effectively by strengthening the people, the vision, the data, the issues, the traction, and the process. I'm going to pause here. This is a very detailed, this is a detailed book. Okay, if you were real estate agents, this would be tough to talk to you about. The fact that you're mortgage officers means you guys are way more detailed than a real estate agent is. This is detail. So you're not going to get it reading it the first time. In fact, I'm going to share an agent here in a second just to show you some results of her business. And she said one thing. She was at our office Tuesday. Well, I guess that was yesterday. She does about 160, 170 transactions a year. And she said, Gary Keller told us to watch the vision speech 6 times. And she was like, I've watched it 5. I'm watching it 6th time on the plane ride home. And his vision speech is kind of like the overview of what the market's doing, which I'm going to get you guys the clip of that. I found parts of it that I'm going to tease you with today. But if you watch that 6 times, or better yet, watch Barry Habib's interview with Mike Brennan, watch that 6 times. Barry was actually at the conference, and I'm sitting in there. The guy, he nailed it. He nailed exactly how to explain to the market what's going on. And watching that 6 times is going to give you the conversations and the messages and the content to get the market to understand that this is the time to buy. And we're going to have to educate them, because right now, they're not beating down our door, right? So we have to educate them to get on the phone and call me and go, all right, I get it. What do I need to do? I need to buy a house, because they should be buying right now. My stepson just was here last night, and he's talking about, they're paying $1,800 a month rent for an apartment. And I said, dude, do you realize you've missed out on $40,000? And actually, it's easy to point it out to him because I had a condo opportunity for him to buy. And he had military money. He had the money to put down. He's like, yeah, I just don't know. So I was like, okay, are you not going to buy it? He said, no. I said, I'm buying it then. So I bought the condo. It has gone up in value like $30,000. So he could have had that condo for $1,000 a month instead of his 18, living in a condo in the elite shopping district of Kansas City.
My survey. Yeah, that's
Hold on. In the elite shopping district, Country Club Plaza in Kansas City, he would save $800 a month and he'd have $30,000 in equity right now. So those are the kind of messages that we got to get back out. So this vision and stuff and all the things that are coming down, it's just going to be very clear for everyone. I wasn't going through the whole detail on this. I just wanted to hit a couple things. So there are no shortcuts to loving people. And I pointed this out because this is what we talk about mostly, all of us, the relationships, the connections. Do not let your connections with your real estate agents and your past clients be on purpose or be just natural. We got to get on purpose and touch base with people more now so you're in front of them more. So let me just tell you, the market on the real estate side, where it's even getting tougher, is I have 4 deals that I did not get in the last 60 days because the market's moving too fast. 2 of them were $400,000 listings that they were getting ready to put on. I'd been to the properties twice. They were cleaning them up, getting them ready for pictures. And I don't let them stay off the market for very long because of this one reason I'm about to share. Is like, get this stuff done, just get the stuff in the garage. We'll get pictures and get on the market. As soon as he was getting stuff in the garage, somebody knocked on the door and they answered the door and they're like, I want to buy this place for $425. And he sold it himself. And he felt so bad. I mean, he's getting it ready to list it, right? It's one of the guys in my network group. He bought me like $200 worth of liquor because he just felt so bad. It's like, but that sucks. That's that's a payroll check that just went out the window. And that's how this market is moving. So on top of the weird market that we have, it's moving so fast and there's a shortage of homes. So people are talking to each other. And like my own neighborhood, I mean, a house came on the market this weekend. It's like, hey, so-and-so is putting their house on the market. I call him up and can I come see it? I go see it. And he's got 3 other people looking at it and sells it that day for cash offer. And I wasn't even ready to go on the market yet, but it was lakefront and we wanted a shot at it, but we weren't even ready. So that's kind of the market. We're on top of this market. We're losing some deals because everybody's coming around and they're snagging them away. So we just got to be on purpose in 23. And I'm just going to get through this and then I'll pause again. So write down any questions that you have on any of this. The second mile servants, or I'm sorry, what I had here was seek out ways to be helpful and add value to everything you do. The best thing you can do in your relationships right now is be available, be informational, not about going to get another loan, but what's happening in your world. How are you dealing with this market? What's the biggest thing you're struggling with right now? And if you have to say, do you have enough sales to pay all your bills? Most of them are going to say, no, I'm trying to find the next listing. And then that just opens up the door for you to then say, oh man, have you thought about looking at things 5 to 10 years ago? So that's where these conversations come back and help you add value to them and help them grow their business for your partners. The other thing is all in. I mean, 2023 is going to be a tough market. We're already in it. We're in the first quarter. Actually, raise your hand if you're looking at the business so far today, and it's not where it was last year at this time, right? I mean, so it's not even coming from fear, but it's an awareness level like, holy crud, it is a tough year. That means I really have to work harder. I have to be all in. So that's kind of another part of the EOS. Every member is vitally important. So when I highlighted this because what I share with you guys is every single person you meet today. In fact, everybody you met yesterday, every person you had a 2-way conversation with yesterday, if they're not in your database and they're not on your 8x8 plan, you're missing people. You got to have a bigger pipeline to get more deals. It's more. Everybody's going to eventually do something, but the more people you stay in touch with and the more people you add every day, you're not going to have to be stuck relying on the harder deals because you're going to get a couple easy ones here and there. It's not going to make the harder deals go away. But if you did, so for example, if you added 5 people a day, you connect with either 5 past clients or 5 referral sources, whether it's a realtor, financial planner, insurance guy. If you added 5 people a day, 5 days a week, 25 a week, 100 a month, 1,200 people in the next year. If you really connected with 1,200 people on purpose and stayed in touch with them, your pipeline is going to be way bigger than just what's kind of naturally happening. So when you don't feed it every day, it's going to come back and bite you. And unfortunately, it's not going to help you right now. But the only way it's going to help you right now is if you start right now, so that in 12 months, whatever that new market is, you've got those 1,200 people there. So you kind of do that along with everything else you're doing. Do that first, get that core in place. Because if you guys, if everyone had done 5 people a day and got 1,200 relationships and wrote 1,200 notes over the last 12 months, you'd be looking at a totally different business right now. Now, I'm not saying it would be a regular business, but it would be double or triple what you're doing right now. And it would be, they'd be coming in where the phone's ringing. And then we're not here to do this alone, or we don't need to do it alone. The system in the EOS is that it is all teamwork and that everybody's working together. So in the meantime, considering what the heck is EOS? All right, so this is where this information and not doing it together. I mean, how many of you are tuning into those weekly gatherings? Tune into there on Thursday mornings. If you can tune into those, I just wanted to share, like, Richard, this is a new kid, outstanding rookie. In 2022, he did 61 units, his second year in the mortgage business. And he's already cranking it up. But his big message was he was talking about relationships and staying in touch with people. And I don't know if any of you know Mike Morrison. He's with Movement. He was just featured on that very first one. All right, so these are guys that are just what their message on the weekly gathering was mostly about. And Michael Morrison has shared this with me personally. He's one of my coaching clients as well. It's all the toughest thing to do is making that time to get those calls into all the relationships. But he's doing like 80 million in sales, like 300, 400 sales a year. And every day he has to get those relationship calls in, or he's not going to have that pipeline of business. In fact, end of last year, when everybody was kind of winding down and wrapping up, I mean, think of how many of you that said, well, nobody's really working right now, so I'm kind of waiting until after Christmas to get back in touch with them. I had talked to Mike, and he's like, oh, heck no. I mean, December 1st, I've got to put the pedal to the metal because I've still got people. He's got this team, Jeffrey, that he has to bring in money for so he doesn't lose them. And he's like, I got to go to work harder. He got the money sitting in the bank, but he's got to make enough coming in every single month to make sure his people are covered. So he doesn't get to take that time off. And he just keeps to the grindstone and keeps making the calls. And by the way, he's got the same struggles all of you have. It's like, where's the time to make the calls? But that's the one thing that gets in there every single time. So we will work on this year, especially Jeffrey, when you brought something like that to the call, then we're going to find those systems. We're going to find where the holes are by tracking it over, between one call to the next, and then plug in those holes with systems. Same with everybody, right? And not everybody's going to go through that same thing. So, and how do you plug those holes? So this is the next thing I want to share. This is Sarita. She is in the Portland area. She's the one that came to our Keller Williams office yesterday and was speaking about her business. And I want you to look at her trajectory, because she started in 2004 and she did like 21 transactions her first year. And this is the part I want to say, everybody listening right now, you're not lazy. Okay, you're going to work and you're working every single day. We just got to pay attention to what we're working on and make sure we're doing the activities that are bringing new money and new applications and new opportunities to the bottom line. So we have to be really on purpose in 2023. So just like she did 21 transactions. I mean, the average agent, when they have their first year in sales, maybe does 4, right? And 80% of them will fail out over 5 years. But she went from 21 transactions from 7 million to 16 million her second and third year. She went to 20 million and 50 transactions her fourth, fifth, and sixth year. So she was kind of getting her business to that 50 transactions. 2010, so we're in the middle of the crash market, and she feels that by dropping down to 36. In 2011, she got it back up to 49. But look at this next one here. From 2011 to 2012, she doubled her business from 49 to 87. Let me tell you who Sarita is. She took this course that I'm just going to kind of run through the outline, that we're going to do an organized group call where we are going to have an on-purpose structure we're going to follow to get that brand plan in place, find the people to plug in to where you guys are getting to 5 people a day every single day. And that will be the one constant that every single person listening to this call is going to start plugging into the system, because she took the class in 2012. And she focused on her database, and she focused on 5 a day, and she focused on 5 notes a day, that stuff that I talk about all the time. And as soon as she showed this screen, I'm just like, she took the class in 2012. That's when I taught it at Keller Williams, and she's a Keller Williams agent, right? And then it went to 144, and then it went to 158. And now she's looking at, 40 to 50 million a year. She's doing 140 transactions. And she's a solo agent with just a couple people on her team now. She's just now been growing her team. I think the most she has right now is 3 people on her team. So she built this business off of just that database. And here's the thing she said, I make the calls every single day, every single day, every single day. So here's what that looks like. So I created a 16-week course for KW, and I've been reviving that to bring back. And my vision was, I got to get this to you guys to where we have it's a 16-hour, or it's a 1-hour session that we'll do every single month and let you get through the process of putting it in place. So even if we did this twice a month, in 8 months, you can have a full-blown system in place that's just churning business and making your phone ring. So in that course, I just went through it. I was checking the content going, oh my gosh, I need to bring this thing back. Everybody needs this more now than ever before. But we have to work on the mindset. We talk about that all the time. And it's like focusing on 5 a day, every day. How are you going to get the 5? What are you going to do to make sure you do that first before you get sucked into the tornado of the day? We talk about the campaigns or those action plans that are inside the database that you'll be able to turn on. The reconnect plan, you guys have already gotten a taste of that on one of the spreadsheets, where it's a way to go through every past client you've ever had, go through your cell phone, go through your Facebook friends list, and you can reconnect with everybody so that you have a reason to write them a note, to not call them out of the left field and talk about business, but to actually reconnect with them first, so that you can change their mindset, that when they see your name and number, they know you're not just asking for a lead, but they're going to answer the phone. Every real estate agent's going to see your number and go, oh, they actually ask questions about my business. They help me with my business. They throw me marketing ideas. They come from contribution that we talked about in EOS. So it's a reconnect plan. And then how you actually set up a tracking system so that this is open and available for you to see every day, me to see every day. If you have accountability partners, they're looking at it every day to say, how many people did you add in your database? Because once somebody's going through this course, and by the time they've gotten to this point, if they're not getting more appointments, all we have to do is look and go, well, you're not adding 5 a day consistently. You haven't done it for the last 5 days. Well, I know, but I had some stuff blow up and I had to take care of it. No, the tracking system will show you didn't do it for 5 days. So now you're going to be on this roller coaster ride in your business. And again, I'll get you guys more information on this, but I just want to highlight some of these things, like mastering the follow-up. That's where we go over those timelines and specific timelines on how you follow up with people, stay in touch with them. Then we create the brand plan, which you guys are familiar with that too. The reconnect plan is a step before, so you can get through your list and just connect with people and not think about business. But the brand plan is anybody new that you would meet. If you're focused on it and you're doing it every day, you're going to plug them in and start branding yourself. How to find their contact information through all the social media sites. Again, many of us have talked about these things even on our one-on-one calls. But then you have specialized brand plans. So I forget who, several of you, we've had a call where, I know one of them is he was doing a continuing education class. So when we looked at that timeline of what are you going to do to get the most agents to your CE class, he got one of his lunch and learns approved as a CE. How many people have a CE class approved? that do that? Or how many of you do lunch and learns? Or how many would like to do lunch and learns, right? So when we do that, we create those touches before to get more people there. And then what's the follow-up after? And so by putting this stuff together, he's gotten it from where I think there's like been 20 people at his last couple of CE classes, and he's got appointments with 18 of them. And only 2 of them said they didn't even want to meet with him. So it's just being on purpose to get those appointments. And so the specialized brand plan for that is, instead of what you see on the normal brand plan, where you call somebody and you write a note, you wait 7 days and then you send an email, right? I said, don't change those things. They're so simple and they're not obtrusive. They're actually helpful, because if a real estate agent gets a buyer on the hook and you sent them an email this week that said, oh, hey, by the way, if you need a quick approval, here's the link to my online application. Why wouldn't you want me to have that? And what you're doing is you're programming me as a real estate agent that now I have a pre-approval application in front of me. They don't have one otherwise. What they're doing when a lead comes in now is they're like, yeah, give this guy a call. Here's his number. They might text it to him, but then nobody checks in to see if they actually called the guy in the first place, or gal, right? They didn't call the LO. They didn't do anything. So we have a system in there that says, call the LO and see if they called him. 99.9% of the time when we do that on our part of our system, the LO, guess what the LO tells us? I haven't heard from them. They're not in my system. I'm not sure what's up. So that's trigger in our system makes us call the buyer back and go, hey, are you serious about getting a house? Yeah. Okay. Well, you didn't call my guy yet. Call him now. And I'm having him call you, right? And then we tell them to call them. So having that system, but in that CE class, what he wasn't thinking about is you could do the same brand plan, and those touches are the things you talked about in the class. So you have somebody come to the class, you connect with them during class, you write them a handwritten note. The next step may be, hey, here's an overview of the class that we just went through so you can get that information again. 7 days later, you send a link, in the email or whatever, that is a link to the recorded class. Record yourself doing the class so they can watch it again. The next one, you're mailing them the handout that was the handout for the class, just in case they didn't have it, with notes filled in, right? Your notes filled in on it. The next one might be a text message to download one of the apps you talked about in the class. And then there's a phone call on week 4. So it's specializing those plans for whoever they are, right? Whether they're a past client, whether they're, we talk about all that in the class here. And then it comes back into tracking for a little while to make sure that you're actually doing all these things and adding people every single day. So just to let you know that this is a 16-hour, and it used to be a 16-week course, but it'd be like it's almost better if it's every couple of weeks or even once a month. But then what you got to be okay with is it's going to take you 8 months to get through the program, right? So let me pause there for a second and just see if you guys have any kind of questions about any of that stuff so far, or anything that we've talked about. What are you getting out of the call? What's something you've taken away from the call? Is anybody getting anything? I mean, is this good stuff?
I'll chime in. Something that kind of clicked for me. I mean, it kind of makes sense. You do the activities. Hey, reach out to an agent. Here's my, greeting card or excuse me, thank you card or application, stuff like that. When you said it programs them, it makes sense, because like without doing that regularly, they're probably going to be a little more sporadic, or they're like, oh, this person called them this week, so they're just going to send it to this person. But if I consistently do it, it just kind of clicked for me. Like you're programming them to set a routine of what to do, which is to revert back to us. I don't know. It just kind of makes sense when you think of it that way, that you're programming them to do that. So when you said that, it kind of clicked for me.
Yeah. You're even in the real estate industry. I program the other agent what I want them to tell their client about my offer by saying what I would say to their client if I had the opportunity to present my offer, right? So what's the agent going to do? They're going to repeat, well, if you think about it, and then they say whatever I wanted them to say to make it sound great, right? If we're not a full price offer, I'll tell the co-op agent, hey, I know this isn't a full price offer, but think about it. What other offers do you have in hand right now? And so they go to their client and they're like saying, hey, I got an offer. Is it full price? No, it's not, but we don't have another offer in hand right now. Oh, okay. Well, what is it? And then one of them, like when we were in multiple offer situations, this is a tip for you guys to share with agents that are struggling with multiple offer situations. The one in the multiple offer situation, they'll say, well, if you hear an agent say this, well, they're waiting till Sunday, so they're accumulating offers. Anybody have this? It's like, yeah, they wrote an offer, but they're waiting till Sunday and it's on Friday. So what I would do is I would submit an offer on Friday, and then I would call the agent and say, hey, I really hate to put you in a weird spot, but I sent you an offer and it expires tonight. I know you were waiting till Sunday, but will you do me a favor? Just run a net sheet for your client and show them, because we went like 15,000 over asking price. So just run a net sheet for your client. And if that works, great. Otherwise, my buyers are going to buy the next house that comes on the market, and that could be tomorrow. So I don't even know if they're going to be around on Sunday. Dude, we beat out like this would have gone for 30,000 over asking price. I know it would have. And they took our offer on Friday night and nobody else had a shot at it. Guys, this is real. Like, I've done that dozens of times in this market. So it's just about getting the agent to be confident in programming. It's like, dude, just call them and tell them it's expiring tonight. And hopefully your buyer's still around on Sunday if they decide not to take it. But what they're going to do is they're going to mess with that seller's head, because if they pass on it and they don't get a better offer, they're going to be begging you for an offer by Sunday. So, and if the offers come in way better anyway, and your buyer already had written their best offer anyway, I mean, and no other better offers come in than that one that expired, you're going to know that when they get the call on Sunday. And if one came in better, the buyers, I programmed them that if you don't get this Friday night and they don't make a decision, just understand that if they don't get an offer better than yours, they'll call us back on Sunday. But if they do get a better offer, then you probably didn't make your best offer first if you're upset about it. Otherwise, that was your best price and it would have sold for more. Now, those buyers are the crazy ones. You didn't want to go that high. Does that make sense? So that programming works all the way through on just everything that you're doing. So I love that you got that out of that. All right, I'm going to blow up this screen when I do this, but let's see. Am I sharing the screen right now? Are you guys looking at Ed Mylett? Okay. You guys know who Ed Mylett is? He's like one of the podcast guys, like one of the top podcast guys. But I just want you to hear this first part and just let it roll, because it's like just about 30-second to 2-minute clips of Gary Keller, family reunion, and I'll hit some highlights too. All right, let me just hit this first one on Ed.
Most people think they're disqualified from becoming mega successful. They think their past disqualifies them, their sins, their mistakes. What I'm saying to you, what if the truth was that your greatest mistakes are the very things that do qualify you to change people's lives?
All right, so let me see if I can now get, okay, there. Now I'm going to blow it up.
What happens in a change is, in a shift like this, is the thing that happens is your math changes. And when your math changes, what you do, we call it your model, what you do then also has to shift to match your new math. And the people that succeed and come out of shifts, and you're going to talk about this in a second, that come out of shifts and really take ground, right? Great career, not just a great year. Remember that, okay? Are those individuals who figure out the new math and then match their actions to the math. That's all you have to do.
Sounds simple, huh? There's about 5 of these.
When you win market share in a shift, you rarely give it back.
Yeah.
If you lose market share in a shift, you rarely get it back.
So how you behave in a shift will determine the rest of your life. Whether you like or not, whether you just got in this industry or you've been in it for 30 years, you just got thrown a curve. The market is not going to be as good as it was. It overheated, prices got too high, inflation went completely off the rails, and we got a challenge. And we're going to have to work our way through this. Your goal is to be alive and be thriving on the other side, yes or no?
Yes.
Okay, I want you to understand something. Not everybody can do that. There aren't enough sales for everyone to thrive. Do you understand that? You have 1.6 million realtors. Wake freaking up. Wake up. Wake up. You are literally going to have to be different if you're going to have a different outcome than the average, right?
All right, hang till the end, guys. I really want to pull this all together and what this means.
You're exactly right. Had I walked in and said, good morning, we're only going to take a minute. We don't want to waste your time because we know you got a lot of real estate transactions to do. We just want to point out that you're fixing to have the third greatest year in volume sold in American history. Right? And you would all go, heck yeah, man, let's crush this. And then you look at all the other slides and you go, ooh, it's really bad. Wah, wah. Yeah, and it is. Make no mistake about it. I mean, I believe that no matter, in spite of that volume, I truly believe that 2023 will be a really tough year. It will be very, very hard. It will be hard. And if you don't work hard to match the hard, your year's going to suck. And what I notice is that there are people that don't do anything different than they were doing during the good times. You can't do that. When times get hard, you have to ramp it up. You have no choice.
One more. And this is the lady that started really built KW.
Number one, I want to tell you who we are.
Okay.
We are a company building a place where entrepreneurs thrive. It is time for the 10,000 people who are here to make a fresh new commitment to yourselves, to go change the behavior so that your behavior matches the moment. And it is time for us to go slay the giant of this shift.
Yes.
All right,
It's
guys.
just time to get.
I hope that was powerful for you. And I want you to hear that it's not just us talking about it. It's not just the people you guys are around. I mean, that's Gary Keller in front of the KW organization. And let me just pause there. Like, what did you hear out of that? Or what are you taking away? And how do you think you can use this, what I just shared with those clips? And I'll give you the link that has all these clips so you can watch them again. How can you use this right now today with your real estate agents and with your consumers to capitalize on it and help make it better? Has anybody thought about that yet? What's the first thing you got? What are you kind of taking away from this? Yeah.
Clearly a shift, right? And it's impacting everyone. And, you know, from all of us to all of our business partners and referral sources, and everyone's going to have to change things up. And so it happens to be the greatest opportunity to share our influence and collaborate and do things that they've never done and do things we've never done. And so, you know, just, I think being a vessel of hope that we can change things together, that we can, do things that we haven't been comfortable with, in previous years or didn't need to do. It's at least inspiring that we can be good partners and stewards of the business. So I've had a lot of good traction with agents because they are all up for doing new things, new social media, new ideas, right? Webinars, podcasts together. So, I think the activities and the collaboration will lead to better relationships, which may not, I'm struggling with because it's not paying the bills these days, but I know in the future it will. So we've got to put our head down and just work through this, next few months and see where that puts us.
Yeah, one more share, and I'm going to give you guys something specific to use with this. Go ahead.
Okay.
Who else? Did you want to say something, Jason?
Yeah, I was gonna say, obviously they're, talking about this is gonna be the third hottest, volume market year in history. So that means there's business to be had. I think there's just the transactions, the volume of the house and all that stuff. It's obviously going to make a difference. There's so many people out there. You got to get a piece of that pie. So you got to do something different. You got to stand out. You can't just keep doing the same thing because you're not going to grow. You're not going to get better without doing that.
Anyone else before I throw in a final comment? Guys, it's more. And when we talk about, even when we say more, it's like this information here, you could take those 7 clips, transcribe that. That's the conversation you want to have with every single realtor you can get on the phone. And how you're going to start that conversation is, I want to share this information with you, right? So what am I going to say on the conversation? Because everybody's at different levels, whether you're connected with them, whether they're a cold call out of the blue, whatever. It's like, if you can start out, hey, first quarter's coming to a close. If your year is looking slower or not as good as you hoped, are you wanting to find a way to make it better? Right? The reason I'm calling today is I'm looking for people that aren't comfortable where they are and feel like it's a struggle. And that's the person I want to talk to. And when they say, yeah, I mean, I'm looking for better ways. It's like, let me just share. And then you could go through these topics with them and just share that it's a tough market. You got to do things different. That when you gain market share in a shift, and if you lose market share, you don't get it back. So right there, if they're losing market share, you're getting them to tune in just a little bit more and hear what you're saying. It's like, listen, this is about being on purpose and doing more. So I made a commitment to get with more people that want to get through this and grow their business during this time and take that market share back. When do you want to get together for coffee? Right? Guys, if you have that kind of message and you're coming from contribution, you're going to meet more people. Is it going to make more loans? It's not going to look like it at first, but you got to have more. You got to have more of them in there, because 1 out of 16 listed a house last year, right? And 1 out of 5 sales were with a KW agent. So if you share this with a KW agent and he's like, hey, family reunion, did you go? 10,000 people went. There's 180,000 people in the company. That is less than 10%. So if they didn't go and you come back to them with their stuff from their company about their Gary Keller, the guy they all know, and Mo Anderson, and you're sharing that with them, do you understand like what that looks like? It's like, dude, how do you know? I mean, oh my gosh, I need to go check this out. It's like, have you seen these videos? Let me send them to you. They're sending them in your branded email with the links to the videos. So I want you to take this information and use it as your source to get in front of them and create those relationships, right? And even if they're not KW, just take the Gary Keller part out of it, right? And share the message with them, because hopefully their company is telling them the same thing, because we're all in the same market. They're at least hearing it from NAR if their company's not doing it. So all you have to do is take the KW part out. Gary's the guy that's just straightforward with everyone, and we'll call it like it is. All right. So what do you guys think? I mean, this was a power pack call and we just went through a lot of stuff, but it's like, take this information, watch this call again, take this information and get out there and more. You got to do more. And if you're looking back at March and you don't have the numbers, you might feel like you worked harder, but did you really do more, right? Did you double or triple the amount of people you're talking to? Did you double or triple calling past clients? Did you double or triple more on what you're doing? So rather than just doing more videos, do not only more videos, do more to promote the video, do more timelines, start applying all this stuff so that it will get you through 2023 and you'll gain market share. Good stuff. Cool. All right. So jot down any questions you have, whatever you need to bring to your calls. If you do not have a one-on-one call scheduled with me, calls are second and third week of the month. So if we don't have a call scheduled in the next week or two, get on my schedule, bug me, track me down. I'm going to track you down too, but just get on my list right away so you can get a better time slot than just what's available. Let's get those one-on-one calls ramped up. You do not have to go through this alone. And you don't want to go through 2023 trying to figure it out on your own, because there's no more happening with self-driven motivation, right? So I'm here for you guys. I want to see you all succeed. Oh, that's what I want to leave with. So with this weekly group call and the gatherings and President's Club, so the coaches are going to President's Club. If you're going to President's Club and you're going to Cancun, text me directly so we can make sure I know you're there and connect. But guys, here's the other thing that I just want to throw out, and this isn't for everybody. That's why I'm saving it for the end. If you're somebody that would like to be in front of, if you'd like to share stuff and be on the weekly gathering call and be interviewed, if you would like to be on stage, one of the other things in the coaching realm is called player coaches, where it's going to be one of the top LOs. They're going to take on 1 or 2 or 3 clients. Now it's $1,000 a month, but they're going to have a small pocket of people that they're just going to help coach through it. They're called player coaches. So if you want to be a player coach and even have some income coming in from helping people with their business, that's one of the things I help with. A couple of my clients are player coaches that I'm helping them with that coaching business to provide value because it's $1,000 a month. But those player coaches, if you want to be a player's coach or you want to be interviewed, it'll get you more exposure that you can use with the realtors in your marketplace. I'm good at that. When you do the stuff, if you say to me, I want to be on stage, I want to be interviewed, I want to be a player's coach, then we're going to have a whole different accountability structure to get you plugging stuff in, get the results so that you've got the proven record to have that opportunity show up. And I've done that with several people that I've coached just outside of even movement before. If anybody's heard of Jeremy Forcier out of California, he was one of my very first movement or mortgage clients back in the old loan toolbox days. And he's the one that he just did it. He actually did the stuff that we were talking about, put it into place. And he would call me and go, you won't believe it, Coach Korn. The realtor gave me their entire database. What do I do now? And it's like, start dripping on them, and it's like, oh my God. And he goes, another realtor just gave me their entire database because he had the conversations the way he was supposed to, and he got it. Then he's on stage sharing this stuff. It's just, so I'm here to take you guys wherever that might be in between. So anyway, that's it for today. How many of you are jazzed now? A little bit more jazzed about 2023. Yeah, baby. So we're going through it. I'm going through it with you. So we're not going to let 2023 beat us. Have a great week.